Thank you for joining me today. My name is Rebecca Petrus, and I am the Program Director of Translators Without Borders. Mike Adams likes to call himself the radio guy. I'm going to call myself the language woman. Because what I care about is language. And the fact of the matter is, I'm going to ask you to remember one thing. If you're communicating with communities in a language they don't understand, you are not communicating with communities. And I think that's really, really important, and really the only thing I really care that you get out of my talk. Because in a crisis, people have their identity left. That might be all they have. And intimately linked to that identity is their language. And so it's very important, of course, to talk to them about where triage might be located or where there might be food. But it's just as important to talk to them in their language because it helps them regain their dignity. It is what is core to them. It's like Nelson Mandela said, if you speak to a man in a language he understands, it goes to his head. If you speak to him in a language that is his language, it goes to his heart. And that's what I want you to walk away with today. It's about empowering people and giving them all the information, not just the information that we cherry pick. Had that happened in Ebola, at the Ebola crisis 18 months ago, I think the results would have been different. It was as much a crisis of information and a crisis of language as anything else. You look at the 3 countries where it was impacted, 90 languages are spoken in those 3 countries. 90. Look at Sierra Leone, 13% of women speak English, and they're mostly in the city. 13%. How can you expect a woman to really be able to help herself if she does not understand what she's reading? If she does not understand what you're saying, she cannot protect her family because she does not understand. This is what we're about at Translators Without Borders. We create rapid response teams through our Words of Relief program to help aid organizations help local communities help themselves through language. It's all about comprehension. If you're communicating and people aren't comprehending, then you're not communicating. We tested this with the Ebola crisis in Kenya, a place where English is a second language for many, many people, but Swahili is more important. We asked them, do you understand basic information about Ebola? How to get help, what the symptoms are, how to bury dead. They got 8% of the questions correct. We gave them that information, very simple information in English. They got 16% of the questions correct. Gave them that exact same information in Swahili. They got 92% of the questions correct. That's comprehension. This is the poster that we used in Kenya. This is in Creole. We translated this poster into 7 languages in West Africa. It was used by MSF in communities to get across very basic messaging. We also recognize in West Africa that illiteracy is a huge issue. We must consider audio and video when we are communicating. We did this Ebola love poem into many West African languages as well as others around the world, and it was used heavily in communities in West Africa. Fast forward to Nepal, where I really felt the aid community understood the importance of language right off the bat. It was within hours that we had put together a rapid response team with about 40 members, both in country as well as in diaspora, to help people understand quickly what was going on. Within the first 72 hours, we provided 500 terms in 3 languages that were used by artificial intelligence to find needs that are in Nepali or in Hindi or Newari, not just in English, so that people who needed search and rescue could get help right away, regardless of the language that they spoke. Our team worked rapidly, translating information directly to the search and rescue teams, and working with Standby Task Force and Humanity Road to assist. We then switched gears, focused on helping aid organizations get information out to communities. We use the CDAC message library, big proponents of it. I highly recommend it. It has very clear, simple messaging. We translated it into Nepali, and we got those messages out. We're currently working on an API called Words of Relief Digital Exchange. This will allow aid organizations to connect directly to our rapid responders, both in country and in diaspora, as they needed. Because as I mentioned at the outset, it's an issue that must be addressed. If people do not comprehend you, if you are not measuring for comprehension, they're not actually understanding you. And I urge you to ask that simple question. And if you want to talk to me more about it, I'll be around, as well as Paul Warambo from our Kenyan office and Andrew Bradenkamp, our board chair. That's it.